Hey everyone, it is Alexis with Create Your Future. I am back with a brand new video. Today's video is a client success story that I'm going to share. It's about recreating a person. It's about manifestation goals. It's about creating what you want. And she also talks about her backstory, what ended up happening, and how she kind of got herself there, which is really important, okay? Before I get started, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And in the box below are links to booking one-on-one coaching, my pre-recorded hypnosis audios, and all of my courses. Yeah, amazing, right? Okay, so you guys, this is a really fun success story because she once and for all was able to recreate her boyfriend who was now moving into being a fiance. She was able to recreate the situation, and they had many years together. They had known each other for a very long time. There were ups and downs, there were breakups, there were makeups. And finally, when she really honed in on what was going on with her, that was the biggest game changer. Okay. And like I've said in so many videos, there are commonalities with the clients that I work with. The commonality that this client brings up was the commonality of a lack of foundation about herself within herself. So as I got to know her and as we talked more and more about her, she revealed more and more to me about just her daily routine, her daily foundation of herself had kind of fallen by the wayside. So they had broken up, they had gotten back together. And what was really the big game changer was changing her foundational concepts and beliefs about herself, her assumptions about herself, her lifestyle, her routine, her manageability of her mental health and her emotions through her thoughts. She changed some of her routine things, work scheduling. She was tending to go to the level of being really burnt out in the place that she was working, which I see a lot with people who are also wanting to manifest specific people. So you really want to check in with yourself. You guys want to make sure that you're understanding that the way everyone is you pushed out works is that what you're creating, what you're focusing on, the thoughts that you think, the story that you hold in your imagination of you, and then the people in your reality is what you push out, what you project onto the screen of space that is therefore your 3D reality. So if you are choosing to think differently about a specific person, if you're wanting to recreate a specific person, specific job, specific body, specific weight, if you're wanting to recreate how you show up, how it shows up, like I tell everyone, and it came down to me telling her this about her particular scenario, because she had a bunch of things going on that she didn't even notice were affecting her thoughts about her SP. So I said to her, yeah, these things matter. And she said, well, I thought that those things didn't really matter because I was supposed to just robotically affirm and think all the time, he loves me, he's obsessed with me, all he wants is me, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, not really. The way that the law of assumption and the laws of the mind work, once again, it's not rocket science here, okay? But it comes down to you, your thoughts about you, deciding, choosing differently about you, and deciding and choosing differently about them or it or whatever it is. So chances are, if you're doing now the thing is about the idea and the phraseology of robotic affirming, I only like robotic affirming if it is actually changing the story. Okay, you have to change the story about you as a person. And that's why there are hundreds of thousands of videos about self-concept. But you guys, self-concept isn't like a do-all be-all for everyone. Like, think thoughts, I'm confident, I'm valuable, I'm amazing, I can have the world, I'm the best, I'm the most beautiful. Yeah, we want you to think that. But you got to think deeper about you, because that's what's in the subconscious mind. Your subconscious programming feeds your mind thoughts, feeds an automatic story of thought to your mind that then projects out and creates out. So, and also it's in totality that it creates, right? So we're changing your thought to change the assumption, the expectation, the story in the subconscious. So you push out, you project differently. If it helps you to understand it that way, then that's the way that you want to break it down for yourself, within yourself, about yourself. All that you need to know is my automatic thoughts about him, about them, tells me what the story is. Now, what's the story behind the story about me? So I asked her this. I said, okay, so now you're telling me that there's a bunch of things wrong. You're not feeling very healthy. You're not feeling very focused. And I said, now, if you're not feeling healthy and you're not feeling focused, do you think you're able to think the healthy thoughts and maintain the focus about him? I said, or all along, has this been kind of an issue and a problem? And if you've worked with me one-on-one, you know that I will identify this, and I don't mind saying it, right? Because you for you about you is the biggest component to your reality. And frankly, the thing is this, is if we don't have the foundational system of being in a healthy mindset, making good choices, thriving essentially in your life, then it's really difficult to stay on thoughts about a person as you choose differently. Now, the question is always like, oh, so are you saying that I need to manifest my perfect life and then they will accept me? No. But you want to accept and change your foundational concepts about you and about the totality of you and your reality in order to allow you to focus and get determined about them. Because in a basic way of saying this, if you're thinking lousy thoughts about yourself and you're thinking lousy thoughts about reality and you have kind of a lousy perspective, it's going to be really hard to not think lousy thoughts about them too. Or you might try with some affirmations here and there, like throwing them in, but you're going to get frustrated, irritated, annoyed, and angry and super triggered super often, right? Anyone else experience that? So you guys, that's why that's not the answer. The answer is the deeper perspective, what's the story within my subconscious about me? How can I change the totality of thoughts about me and my reality as a whole? Okay. Let me get to her success story in my email somewhere. Okay, here it is. Now it's a little bit long. Well, it's a lot for me to say. I feel it's a little bit long, but she would say that she could, she puts in here, she could just write a novel and talk forever about him. It's just kind of a lot to say, so bear with me. I say it eloquently, okay? Hi, Alexis. I am so happy to write in my success story once and for all. I am finally able to do so, ... So here I am. Like so many of the previous success stories that I have heard, I am also here to reiterate for people that who are listening to this and watching this, that they can have him that you can have him the way that you want him. Exclamation point. As you watch this, make sure to tell yourself that you are a success story right now too. I could write a novel about my SP and all the things that had happened, but to make a long story short, here are the bullet points. We met in 2018. We were in a relationship from 2018 to 2020. He broke up with me and told me it wasn't me, it was him, blah, blah, blah. We got back together in 2021. COVID happened. We broke up again. We got back together in 2022. And then from 2022 to now is when it was bad. During that time, he confessed to me that he still had feelings for someone from his past. And he told me he had done nothing, but he still thought about an ex from a long time ago. Right after that, I started coaching with Alexis about 6 months ago. And now I myself, and I can say I am shocked, stunned, and amazed at how things have changed. I followed her advice and affirmations and recreating the reality from within myself. And he actually came out and told me that it was all his fault. He knew he had some things to work on, some things going on with him, and that he wanted us to be together, but totally different than we had been. At first, this freaked me out, but then Alexis reassured me that this was the time to maintain my focus and to be more determined than ever to stick to the new story. So I did, and I did, and I did. He ended up going into counseling and even invited me to attend one session. I have to leave things out, you guys, because people put in personal things. They don't know that it's I really leave out personal information. So he ended up going into counseling and even invited me to attend one session. My mind was blown away when he talked about marrying me in front of the therapist and a bunch of exclamation points. That was a few months ago, and fast forward to now, ... He is actively more involved in our relationship than ever and showing me more and more that he loves and cares for me. We talked more and more about getting married, and I have learned to come back to, is this right for me? Is this what I want, etc., as Alexis encouraged me to do. Now it is like he is permanently off the pedestal, as I tried on my own for so many months to accomplish. This makes him want me even more, it seems. Well, yeah. I can't wait to continue updating you and tell you more and more about as the story unfolds. Thank you for all that you do for the world, Alexis. You are my angel sent from heaven! Exclamation point. Okay, so big pointer there is taking the specific person off a pedestal. How do we do that? It's with your thoughts, the dynamic and the decision about who are the two of you in your imagination. But that was a big game changer. And it really just was reworking again how she felt about reality and how she felt about herself. Now, once we began coaching, it takes me a little bit of time with everyone for us to get to know each other, for you to get to know me, and for you to really feel comfortable unraveling the layers of the onion. Because if you want to recreate your person and you want to recreate reality, you have to understand, first and foremost, that who you have created them to be generally has nothing to do with them. It's everything to do with you and what's going on in your life about you, your assumptions about love, your assumptions about them, and then what thoughts have you attached to them. Okay. So as we unravel the onion of her mind, she was telling me more and more and more about all these things that she was dissatisfied with. Okay. So I had her work on changing her concept, her perception, and her thoughts about all these things. It also allowed us to have other things to manifest for. There were things with her career that she found she was dissatisfied with. There were things with her body she was dissatisfied with. It even came down to her wardrobe. There was a lot of things as she began talking to me, and that's my job, is to be the soundboard, to listen to, oh, that's something that we can recreate. That's something that we can tweak. If we tweak this, if we recreate this, do you think it will give you a better mindset, more motivation, and can you focus more on maintaining the thoughts about him? That's always my go-to. How can we maintain the focus, have the proper thoughts, living in the end of the relationship, affirming for what you want with the person? What do we need to do to create for that to happen, right? So again, this isn't rocket science, but I'm the one in my mind figuring out, like Tetris pieces, what are we doing? What do we need? And again, it is very individual. That's why I am not in favor of these, affirm for this, then this, affirm A, it gets you Z. Our minds are all different. Okay. So the other thing was the inner chatter that she had about him was very negative. Okay. So even when I would tell her to think the thoughts that we need her to think, the mind would still come up with this negative story. The negative thoughts would come in like a tractor. Like, does anybody have, like, I have my cute, beautiful son, Logan. Does anybody have like one of the kids' tractor trucks? Well, Logan is always at this time, him being so cute, he carries around this truck and he puts, like, this is my phone. He puts the truck out in front of him and then he will do the dump thing. And I thought the other day, that's like my clients and their mind. They're focusing on what they want. And then in comes the tractor or the truck or the car, and it dumps the old story. It dumps the negative thinking. Your mind tries to come in and tell you what's wrong. Why can't you have this? These are all the reasons. This is what he did, etc., to get you out of the focus of confidence, self-empowerment, creating and manifesting, choosing what you want. So look at it that way, you guys. That might help. Remember, your mind is not an alien invader. It is just trying to get you, to navigate you to sameness, because your mind perceives sameness is safety. I'm saying it again. Sameness is safety. Your mind is geared towards, your subconscious mind is geared towards keeping you safe, keeping you stable, keeping it alive. So listen, if you have a lot of negative assumptions about love, lack of trust with love, you can't, all these things, that's your mind's way of keeping you safe because you've always thought that way. So that's why it takes a fair amount of persistence and focus to change your thoughts about these things, but you can do it. You're no different than this client. You're no different than anyone else that has been a success story. So like she said, start identifying right now that you're hearing this success story. So therefore you are also becoming a success story, success in your relationship, success with your person, and that you're once and for all able to figure out what those things are. What are the issues in you that keep you from creating that safe, secure, stable relationship, because that was a big thing for her. She really felt like she couldn't trust him. She couldn't move past the things he said. She couldn't move past that he had said this. Well, the other thing about this is when the person has done something that you feel like is so much, it's unforgivable, or you just can't get past it. Or maybe there's something about the person that you have fallen in love with that you just can't get past, like she had. Well, I had her change the inner story, the inner dialogue, the inner chatter about that. And then this was the funny thing. We started creating that she was seeing evidence of his change. And that's what I recommend. You want to identify for you what would be happening if you saw the change in them. Would you see it? Would you hear it? Would you feel it? What would happen? And I said, well, to her, I had said, it sounds to me like you really want to see some evidence that he's not into her anymore. And you rightly have, that's a right thing to do. If your person has had a third party, let's say, or your person has been married previously, or your person has confessed feelings for someone else, I'll be gosh darn sure that you deserve to hear that your person isn't into them anymore. And you can create it. Okay. So I had offered, why don't we create that you're seeing evidence of your intentions, you're seeing evidence of his devotion to you, you're seeing evidence of his love for you, and you're seeing evidence that he's doing everything for you all the time. So then he enrolled in the counseling, and then he brought her to the counseling session, and then he brought up the marrying her in the counseling session in front of the therapist, like she put in the success story. And he began telling her and apologizing and saying, I'm no longer into her anymore. It was totally a mistake. It was all my fault. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I've been this way. I think I have childhood things to work on. Okay. So if you're kind of in a stuck place, or you feel like things aren't happening, then I really would suggest sitting with yourself and thinking, what do I really want to see, hear, and feel? Now, the caveat of this is the big caveat, okay, is that you can't be doing this and then thinking, I need this to happen to keep me focused and keep me motivated, right? I hear from people sometimes, Alexis, I just need some kind of evidence. I need some kind of motivation. I need something to happen. It's crickets and nothing is going on. Well, you do want to affirm, and you want to be thinking, I always see evidence. Things are always working for me. My reality gains more and more momentum, more and more positive things happen. Okay. But you also don't want to be needing something to happen to keep you going. The need for something to keep you going, that's not the way reality works. We have to keep it going within, see it's going within, and then it goes. Right. And I have some clients, you guys know who you are. If you're watching my video, I have some clients that really want to challenge me on this. Like, well, yeah, but I need that. Like, I will say one thing and then they will say, yeah, well, I need this. And I will say, okay, well, that's not the way that it works. Well, yeah, but wouldn't it be just so great if he just did something and he said something and I say, yes, but it doesn't work that way. Okay. Because we have to think of what we want in order for it to become part of the projection of reality and for it to push out. Bottom line, end of it, it's you. You create your reality. You create your relationship. You don't realize it. If you're new to this, okay, you could also be watching this and you realize it, but you are the only one who should be on a pedestal just by choosing that you are. It's just a choice. So how you take someone off a pedestal is to only allow the thoughts, the perspective, the decision, the inner dialogue, the inner chatter that you are the one on the pedestal, that you are the one is sought after. It's choosing to think of yourself that way. As you choose and think differently about these things, choose and think differently about them. That's it. Now, it is not having an overinflated egoic sense of self-confidence, but it's knowing, it's having the deep intrinsic assumption and knowing and believe that I matter, I'm important, I'm creating what I want, I'm getting what I want this time, it's working out for me this time, I'm getting it this time, I'm having it this time, I'm having it, I'm getting it, I'm having it, I'm getting it. You see the flow with the thought. Okay. So yeah, let's use this as motivation to be more on point, more focused this week than ever, excited about whatever you're manifesting, and that it is just a simple thought. It's just simple thoughts that you're thinking. Your thoughts create. Everyone is you pushed out, a projection of you. Stay on track this week, right? And really look at your life and think, okay, so what things about my life foundationally do I also want to recreate, which will allow me to also maintain recreating that, okay? That's my video for today, you guys. I love you all. I'm wishing you the best. Have a great Monday. Celebrate yourself. Keep yourself on that pedestal. I'll see you soon. Bye.